Have you ever had a year that held great promise, but took you by surprise as it turned into a year of living hell? Well, that's what happened to me in the year 2000, the year of my 50th birthday. I endured the death of 5 people who were closest to me. Between January and December, I lost 3 of my best friends from junior school, high school, and a like-minded friend who I thought would be there to share memories in our old age. Not to mention both my parents, who died within 3 months of each other. By the 1st of January, I had unexpectedly laid to rest these 5 pillars of my life. Emotionally exhausted, I handed over the reins of my computer training center and took 10 days to recuperate at a spa near my home in the winelands outside Cape Town, South Africa. Having been a successful businesswoman, I knew I would be able to make a plan. I found an old notebook from the years before when I documented things that had really worked for me and shifted me in my life whenever I'd had a crisis. For me, there were 7 steps here to unleashing the superhero powers within me that I found worked when crisis struck. I was sure that I could start the process and move forward easily. I used these 7 steps and was able to step into my superhero powers I had developed. I believe my message now is specifically for women over 50, and it's not a quick fix solution by any means. It's a gradual development of mind, body, and spiritual powers that enables us to handle any crisis that comes our way and deal with it like a true superhero. This 7-step formula for me is very simple, yet was very profound in my healing process. And it took me from feeling I was in a crisis to the excitement of solving a new adventure. The first thing I learned was, even though I was a successful businesswoman and I knew how to set goals, something was holding me back. And I learned that I needed to reach out and find help from somebody who did processing and was able to take me back to my past unconscious beliefs and let them go. Letting those go enabled me to move forward. Before I'd let them go, there was this procrastination I just couldn't get rid of. The second thing I did was yoga, to restore my body to its former flexibility. And then step 3 is meditation. I needed to reduce my stress and help me shift from operating in a beta brainwave frequency most of the time and relax into a slower frequency of alpha, so I could think more clearly, become more creative, and find solutions to these challenges. Step 4 was being in the right vibration to draw my desires to me. As I visualized in a very certain way that I'd learned, I realized that I needed to visualize either during or after meditation when my vibration was at its best. This has become a way of life for me, and my book will be published within the next few months, explaining the miracles I was able to manifest using this technique. Step 5, living with an attitude of gratitude, being in my joy for what I have and not focusing on what I don't have. Step 6, living my spiritual values. For me, that was living the 7 spiritual laws of success and noting the laws, the spiritual laws of superheroes. Step 7, I changed my focus from not being good enough to being perfect, knowing that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. This, when I really got it, meant that I had inherent within me all the superhero powers I needed. I just had to develop them, practice them, and make them something like a toolbox that I could call on. Because they say that before enlightenment we chop wood and carry water, and after enlightenment we chop wood and carry water. So life is not going to be a bed of roses, but what it is going to give you a toolbox so that when crisis or challenges come your way, that you would be able to pull out, to draw from this internal awareness, this internal strength, creativity, and ability to make this an adventure rather than a crisis. Have you ever played the game of being your favorite superhero for a day? I wonder what superpowers you would choose to help you, and what superpowers you would like to borrow, perhaps just for a day. Would you like to take on the qualities of Superwoman or Superman with his supreme strength, ability to fly, and X-ray vision? Or how about Batman's more mortal powers, his determination, tenacity, and his will to never surrender, not to mention his toys? Or how about the great mythic heroes and heroines, the divine powers of compassion and grace embodied by Buddha and even my beloved Nelson Mandela? What about the powers of the intellect, of wisdom, that the great goddess Athena had? What if you took the game a step further? And what if you actually stepped into your superhero character for a day or two, or when you really needed to? What if you could do that? You know, we're living in turbulent times that require a new kind of superhero. What's happening globally is also happening in our relationships and in ourselves. We all have the power to discover greater happiness and courage. This is what I thought about as I drove across America on one of my greatest adventures. I just went for 3 weeks driving and being in my joy, being in my spontaneous moment, never knowing where I was going to land up next. But I believe that enabled me to start accessing my creativity as I restarted my 7 steps to dealing with any crisis. The results have spoken for themselves, having used these steps twice since turning 50. And that's why I believe that I am the messenger of hope for women over 50, who are tired of dealing with challenges and who will do what it takes to unleash their superhero powers. I'd like to thank you sincerely for taking the time to listen to my message, and hope I managed to give you something to think about. If that is the case, I'd like to ask you a big favor. Would you be kind enough to vote for me in the Are You a Messenger project? And if you feel that there are women that you know out there who would find value in my message, then please ask them to watch this video and vote for me too. It's a fact that us golden oldies, we think we're so at risk financially and emotionally just because we passed it. We think we're over the hill. But the truth is we're not over the hill, we're on top of it. And so those women who are over 50 and who can work their superhero powers, this is what I call our time of being golden superheroes. Until we meet again in my next video, my name is Sheryl Bishop. Namaste.